Hi, this is Heather Fiore, and this is my case study, Missing Booster Money. So the summary of the case is Mr. Stephen is the principal of George Washington Middle School. The population socioeconomic level of families has decreased over time, but there's still a lot of parent involvement. One of the parents, Miss Bowman, has a daughter who's on the cheer team and was invited to attend all-state cheerleaders in New York, and Miss Bowman approaches Mr. Stevens and asks to use the PTA money to fund this trip for her daughter of $798. Mr. Stevens doesn't feel that that's appropriate to fund just for one student and denies her request. The next time that he has interactions with her is at the last basketball game of the season, where she is volunteering to help out along with others. And here, there is another gentleman, Mr. Dumas, who's the foreman at a textile mill that works in the community, and he came to the game and he mentioned to Mr. Stevens that he only had a $50 bill to pay to get in, and Mr. Stevens indicated, oh, we'll take any money, that's fine, as long as you're supporting, our school. So at the end of the game, upon checking the funding that came in with the security guard, Mr. Stevens notices that there's a note from Miss Bowman stating that there's 10 tickets that were torn, so she threw them away. However, the funds that he is counting don't match with 10 torn tickets that were thrown away, and there is no $50 bill that apparently Mr. Dumas gave. So, problem identification, what I know. I know George Washington Middle School serves approximately 450 students. Their diversity their socioeconomic level has declined. Many of the parents work at the factory textile mill. There's strong parent involvement. Students are very involved in athletics and other sports such as the cheerleading. There were 4 parents volunteer for each event for concession and ticket sales. Principal Stevens has been there 4 years. He's very well liked. He doesn't have an assistant principal to help him out. Miss Bowman, the mother of the daughter who was invited to the all-state cheerleading, helps out and requests that the PTA funds pay for her daughter's expense to go to this trip. Mr. Stevens declines that. At the last home game, we know that Miss Bowman volunteers. Mr. Dumas, who is the foreman at the textile mill, indicates that he gave a $50 bill to get in to buy his ticket. When Mr. Stevens checks the money with security there's money missing. Miss Bowman also left a note stating that there were 10 tickets that were torn that she discarded. And basically we know that the money doesn't match up with what Miss Bowman said and what should be in there based on the ticket sales. What I need to know, did anyone pay with a larger bill and they needed to make change, that maybe the $50 bill was given to someone else? Who was the other parent volunteers assigned to tickets? Did they see the torn tickets, the 10 torn tickets? Is Miss Bowman able to afford the trip for her daughter Lucy? What are the board policies when money goes missing? Has this ever happened before as well? Identifying the problem. Well, the problem is the money's gone missing. There's a $50 bill missing. Tickets have gone missing. Miss Bowman does have a reason to take the money, but that doesn't mean that she did. Mr. Stevens has control over all PTA decisions. Proper procedures are not put in place for collection of tickets and money, it doesn't seem. Plan of action with appropriate strategies for implementation. Find out who else was volunteering and see if they have any input as to did they see the $50 bill or the torn tickets. Find out board policies, contact the superintendent, speak with Miss Bowman and address the missing money and see what she has to say without accusing her. Speak with the other volunteers. Go over previous documentation to make sure there has not been any other issues at previous games with missing money or torn tickets. Some of the strategies: strengthen your procedures for handling money. Make sure it's a little more secure, maybe sign-in sheets, just anything to secure who's taking care of the money and the tickets. Reach out to the district for support at these events. So maybe having, additional teachers there or certified staff or people that work for the district already to help volunteer and oversee. Resolve the issues based on promoting the success of all students. Make sure all volunteers are trained on how to handle money in incidents where tickets are not usable. Reach out to the community or the district to see if there are other ways to support Miss Bowman and her daughter to fund this trip for her to the All States. Debrief the problem, thinking, why did Miss Bowman throw the tickets out instead of just labeling them as unusable and maybe putting them in an envelope? I just don't know why she got rid of them. Was she trying to hide something? How can we verify the trustworthiness of the volunteers that are there? Are there any checks that go into the individuals that volunteer? I mean, I think if they're willing to volunteer, they wouldn't have a problem with going through a check as far as whether it's going to the police station and getting fingerprinted for a background check. I can't accuse anyone without all the facts, so I need more information. What was I feeling? I'm feeling I need to investigate the situation. I feel sad that Mr. Stevens has no district help. I'm wondering why there is not a process for discarding of the tickets for proof. I'm valuing Mr. Stevens' ways of trying to do things correctly. I value that Mr. Stevens did not go accuse Miss Bowman. I am valuing that Mr. Stevens takes verifying tickets and concessions seriously, and he goes over each thing after the game. And I'm truly valuing parent involvement. That is a great thing because a lot of schools don't have that. Some unresolved issues is, did Miss Bowman take the money? Where did she dispose of these tickets? Can we find them? Did Mr. Dumas give a $50 bill, in fact, to Miss Bowman or another volunteer? Or did, when he go to pay, it change up? Where did the money go that's missing? That's a big unresolved issue. So reflection on Standard 8, an educational leader promotes the academic success and personal well-being of every student by ensuring effective, efficient management of the school or district to promote student social and academic learning. Here is where we need to train the volunteers, run background checks, request the district to maybe have some paid employees to help oversee the volunteers besides just Mr. Stevens. Look at the policies of how funds can be raised or used to help fund students like Lucy, who is, getting invited to a major thing at the All States in New York. So maybe there's other policies that'll help her, or community companies or businesses that are willing to do that to promote the students. So some other things for the reflection of Standard 8, establish policies to avoid situations like this happening. Listen to what all individuals involved have to say. Like I said, go out, find out who the volunteers were, talk to them and see their perspective or on how the night went and where things were, if they've seen anything. Be supportive of all students' achievements like Lucy, so support her in a positive way. Even if you can't give her the funds to fund the trip, try to help her out and find ways to. Work with the community to promote social and academic learning. Handle situations with fairness and equality for all. And I based on what I read, Mr. Stevens did handle it with fairness. He didn't go accusing. He is now in a state of trying to figure out how to resolve the situation of the missing money. Helps students reach out, like I said, for alternative funding for trips, for the school, for anything. Model appropriate behaviors and policies. Don't prejudge, which I don't believe Mr. Stevens did. He didn't prejudge the situation and go accusing anyone. And make sure to communicate policies and procedures to all stakeholders. If you have parents volunteering, if you have community members volunteering, they need to know the policies and procedures just like any of the staff that is paid staff. So this is imperative that you communicate this and, have some guidelines to follow when you're doing these events. Like I said earlier, have a sign-in sheet, know who's doing what, who's doing concession, who's doing ticket sale, who's handling the money, and so forth. So there is my case study. I hope you enjoyed listening. Thank you.